Hi guys, Merlini here with another Merlini Miniplays. This time I wanted to go over the offlane phase. It's about laning phase generally around 6 to 8 minutes, but that first 6 to 8 minutes is like extremely important. I can't tell you how many times I just like died a couple times with the offlaner, and that just like decides the rest of my game. And you really want to set up a foundation for a successful game, and it all starts with the laning phase. And I don't think enough importance is stressed on how that laning phase should go down. So in this particular game, I am a Nightstalker. I'm versus a solo Gyrocopter, but I don't actually know that at the start. Like looking at their lineup, I'm not exactly sure who is going to be in that particular lane. Their highest rated player is Huskar, and generally the highest rated players go mid or safe lane. And again, I'm not sure. It could be a Lush mid, that's more common, Gyro safe lane with like Bounty Hunter and Huskar off lane with the jungle Ursa. That's probably what I would expect. But again, this guy's the highest rated player. He probably demanding mid and, you know, wants to carry his team, and you can't often do that from an off lane position because you're in a 3-on-1 situation. But we'll see how that plays out for them. And if I suspect that he's mid, it's going to be like a weird support Lush track or support Gyro, something strange like that. So I'm looking for any sort of information that I can at the start of the game, like who am I actually going to be up against. So I go like a pretty generic build with a stout. I have a little bit more gold than normal, but I buy my own obs. If you don't have the luxury of starting off with stout and whatever other option that you want, you can just get your regen pulled, like one obs word from your support as well as a couple of tangos, and then you can just save it and buy boots in a side lane as soon as possible. So I see 1, 2, 3, 4 counting the dots, with Bounty Hunter possibly being top, but I assume that he's down there because his whole team is down there and they're playing super aggressively. So I know that I'm gonna be in the one-on-one situation versus the Gyrocopter. I don't have any regen at the start, and I can't actually contest a lane. Like even if I wanted to contest that lane, it's a toss-up as to whether or not I can click faster than him. And on top of that, like I can't be at full HP after that, which is pretty important. Like you want to be at full HP constantly so that you can play aggressively. If you need to tank a rocket barrage, then you can do so, and having that option is always very important so you can actually start going for some CS. So the first move that I do is a pretty important move. I do this very often with like Lone Druid because I can do it with my bear and not put my hero at risk. But versus this particular lane, I've seen 4 heroes on bottom. I know this guy's most likely solo top, and I can pull this creep wave. So there's a couple of advantages to this. Firstly, I'm a melee hero, which means I can carry a stout shield, which means I can tank creeps. Range heroes, they can't tank creeps. So if I'm taking creeps at tower and he's taking creeps at tower, then I get a big advantage off of that, because I don't have to use as much regen. So I'm trying to like trade his regen inefficiently, and generally you'll see that like in a stout hero beating on a non-stout hero, and they're just trading hits. But in this situation, it's creeps beating on a non-stout hero versus creeps beating on a stout hero. But I have to bring myself regen as soon as possible, so I buy myself some tangos and head him on over. This is dependent on your mid laner. If she's going for like an early bottle rush, like branch pull tango, then you don't want to actually do this because you'll just interrupt the bottle flow of the mid laner. But if she goes for a different build, like a null build, you know that she's not going to get a bottle in like 30 seconds. So you can use a chicken freely without delaying that mid laner's bottle. So I pull the creep wave over here, and generally you can get some pretty like free CS too without the safe laner trying to interrupt you. And I pull the creep wave over here. I see him tanking it in the tower, which generally means that he is tanking the tower and he's using all 4 of the creeps. He's killing all 4 of the creeps under the tower. What does this mean? It means that all 4 of his creeps are getting hit under the tower. I only chose to tank 2 creeps under the tower. So that means his creep wave's already dead, and my creep wave is still alive because I only chose to use 2 of them. So it always depends on what he's doing. If he pulls it back to this area over here, then I can do a couple of things. I can eat the tango over here and pull this creep wave so that I can again pull the creep wave back closer to my side of the tower, or I can try and pull as many creeps as possible to the niche area, to the nook over on this area. Like I can tank right in front of the tower, all 4 creeps, so that the tower doesn't hit any of them. So there's so many things you can do with the creep pool. You can tank with you can have none of the creeps die to the tower. You can have 2 of the creeps die to the tower. You can have 4 of the creeps die to the tower. It always depends on this guy. And my end goal is to have the creep wave like right outside my tower, so that firstly, I can CS without him really harassing me that much, because I can just retreat just a few hundred range and be under the safety of my tower. Secondly, he can't zone me. As an offlaner, you're generally scared of a Gyro playing on the opposite side of the creep wave, and then if you come up for a creep, he just rocket barrages you. You've probably been in that situation a few times, and there's not really that much you can do about it. You can't just like straight out regen it, because it's very, very costly. It's like almost a salve every time you tank a rocket barrage. So the way to prevent this is to manipulate the creep wave so that it's over here. And if you're not Clock, you're not Earthshaker, you're not Tusk, it just becomes exceedingly difficult to actually do that, which is why those offlaners are very favored nowadays. But with some creep and manipulation, you know, dragging the creep wave from here, then you can actually have this creep wave in this area over here, so that I can actually CS and trade hits. So right now I'm not scared of Rocket Barrage. There's like so many creeps that I'm not really scared if he casts it. Generally, you'll see people cast their spells once pretty early in the lane to start the natural regeneration. I have 0.7 mana regen per second. He has 1, so like he'll regen his mana in like a minute and a half. So if he used it like at minute 0 at the creep spawn, he would have regened it by now, and that's just like free damage, right? You don't want to miss out on free mana. So generally, cast your spells once very, very early to start that natural regen taking. I do the same thing with my Void, even though I have slightly less mana regen than he does. So now the creep wave's in a pretty nice position for me. I'm not scared of Rocket Barrage, I'm not scared of him diving me, I'm not scared of him zoning me out, and I'm getting a decent CS at this point too. I have 5, he has 6. So right now this range creep's right about to die, and he was threatening with a Rocket Barrage, so I can't actually freely CS that. You always want to look for those opportunities where he's looking to get like a full damage Rocket Barrage, and sometimes you just have to miss out on CS because of that threat. So at this point, I want to always try and get as much damage on him as possible and make him waste all his regen. So another benefit to this particular lane is that there's a lot of chasing room, and you can, when a creep wave is about to die, you want to stun him, you want to slow him, so that not only are you right-clicking him with your hero, you're also getting free damage from the creeps. So you have to use the help of the creep wave to try and whittle away his regen. Unfortunately, I don't get any extra hits in, but I still like to do that. Like right after a creep wave dies, I use a Void, similar to how he wants to use a Rocket Barrage as soon as the creeps die. So in this particular position too, he also is looking to get free damage on me with Flat Cannon, and the way to dodge Flat Cannon is to fog it. You can't really outrange it. It's 1,000 radius. 1,000 radius is like very, very far. As a melee hero, you have to be up close and personal so that you can actually get some CS, but you don't want to be so close that you're taking flak all the time. So you want to play actually on the right side of the creep wave. Like here is a really good spot for me to stand. I'm really close to the creeps, and I can fog if necessary. If he goes in for Rocket Barrage, I have this heavily obscured area that I can just dodge most of the Rocket Barrage damage. And if he goes in for a flak, I can also hide in this little pocket over here so that I don't get hit by the flak. So he starts casting flak to get some damage on me, and I immediately run to this area so that I don't tank any damage. I'm trying to get it so that it's in his vision. Like he can't actually see me right now. I just changed it to dire vision, and there's that just tiny little bit of fog right here that I can dodge a Flat Cannon. So you can stand on the left side too, but the left side means you can't really CS the creep. So I generally prefer the right side, but either one of these two places is a pretty good place to stand against a hero that you need fog against. And right now I want to play pretty aggressively on him because he decides to try and Rocket Barrage me, and I actually end up getting a kill on him. He's in that position where he didn't really top himself off. He did have like a tango that he could have eaten a while ago, like right now, to top himself off, but he gets a little bit careless, and I punish him for playing a little bit too aggressively, and he thinks I'm going to respect Rocket Barrage a lot more, but I've been pretty careful about not taking that much damage from that spell for the majority of the laning phase. So at this point, I have a huge advantage in lane. I got a solo kill on this guy, but you need to be able to transition this into more kills, into map control, into more CS, and you can't really do that with no mana. Like, I don't even have mana to TP, let alone like TP and mana void twice to chase someone down. And it's like a minute and a half in the until nighttime, and that's generally when you want to, you know, start putting some pressure on as a Nightstalker. But you can't do that with any mana, without any mana. So there, you can get a clarity potion, you can get a mango, you can get a Basilius, you can get a bottle. There's many ways to actually get mana, or you can just go home. You can also get arcane boots, but you want to do one of these things so that you can continue the pressure and hopefully score some more kills. And generally, if I'm not going to get a bottle, I'm at 600 gold right now. If I'm not going to get a bottle, then I would just push out this creep wave, go home, and then come back. So I'm at full mana, and I just reset the lane. Like right now, if he comes back to the lane, he has a pretty big advantage because I don't actually have any mana to do anything. Like, how am I supposed to threaten anything? I'm also at half HP, so I can't really dive him even if I wanted to. So I have to get some sort of item or go home and heal to keep up the pressure, and I decided to farm up my bottle because I'm really close. I buy myself a bottle, I bring it over immediately, and it's also like well before the 4-minute rune. So if I bring the bottle over, it'll be like 3:20, and then by that time I have like, you know, 30 seconds to use my bottle and then try and get the rune. So that's a pretty good timing for doing something like that. And this is what he was going for at the start of the lane. He wants to play on the opposite side of the creep wave so that if I come up for creeps, he'll just rocket barrage. But I didn't let him get into this position because of the way I played and the way I dragged the creep wave around. And he's still putting pressure, which is good as a Gyrocopter. He still has an advantage in the lane. He's like a ranged hero with like a really powerful tool set, and he can't just let me bully him around in lane even though he's died once. So he still tries to play on the opposite side of the creep wave and knows that I can't come up for any of these denies and any of these CS without taking that much damage. So again, stand on the left or the right side so that I can fog if necessary, and as soon as I come up, he rocket barrages me. That's to be expected, but this time I have bottle regen to just counteract that at any point. And he's going for, he wants to kill this range creep ASAP so that if I run backwards, he's going to flat cannon me and rocket barrage me at the same time. So I want to try and dodge as much as possible. So if he flaks, I can just run into this little pocket from the north, or I can just scoot over to the right side to be a little bit closer to my tower. So I know what he's going for, but I don't want to take that much damage. And if I just ran straight back down, he would have went for a rocket barrage. But I try and go in here for the fog so I don't get hit by flak, and then just bottle myself up so I'm max HP. Like, you don't know when you want to go in for the dive. Sometimes you just take one too many creeps and you want to go in for the kills. So me being at like 90% HP is crucial for me being able to go in for a kill. Lina actually pings him out, and I just immediately turn on him, take a full duration rocket barrage, which actually takes away like 60% of my HP, and eventually we go for a kill. I didn't actually need Lina's help at that point. I probably could have went for a solo kill because nighttime was right about to hit, but there you go. That's the laning phase breakdown for, I think this guy was like 5,700 rated as a Gyrocopter, but at this point, like, he's pretty much in the dumps. He's died twice, I would say pretty close to solo, so not that much investment from our team, and it's pretty easy to transition out of this after you get like a haste rune at the 4 minutes. But it all comes back to decisions that you made like prior to the creep spawn. Like, what heroes did you see on the map? What did you do with that information? How did you play the lane? Did you have enough regen? Did he have enough regen? And all these things add up to have a very successful mid game. So there you have it. Offlane Nightstalker versus the safe lane Gyrocopter. Please hit that subscribe button for more YouTube videos. I release videos every single Tuesday. So thank you guys. Peace out. Have a good one.